It's just, yeah.
Something going on. Yeah. Something going on in the neighborhood. Why do we see much further than we should? You're sick of the lies, sick of the lies. Who you gonna call when you get on the line? Who you gonna call? Who you gonna call? Who you gonna call? Yeah! GLOBEBUSTERS! 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 If there ain't no curve, there ain't no ball. The globe religion about to fall. We're gonna open your eyes so you can see who you gonna call if you wanna be free. GLOBEBUSTERS! 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 Who you gonna call? Who you gonna call? Who you gonna call? Yeah! GLOBEBUSTERS! GLOBEBUSTERS! GLOBEBUSTERS!
And welcome everybody to GLOBEBUSTERS. We accept the reality of the world with which we're presented. It's as simple as that.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of GLOBEBUSTERS Tech. I'm your host, Zach. Good times for all, and today, let's talk about shadows. It's been years since I did any testing and playing around with shadows, but I remember it was all the rave back in the day when that first eclipse that came around. After it all, I had heard about it in 2017. There was a lot of people doing all kinds of tests and stuff. And I was one of those people. I know Kyle was as well. Karen was. Cammy was. So, yeah, we're just going to show you some videos that we went through. I'm not sure how old Kyle's is because Kyle had to re-upload all his stuff, I believe.
Yeah.
But I know mine was at least 7 years old, and I know Karen's is pretty old as well. But before we do that, one thing about shadows. There's a quote, my favorite quote, I think ever. It's by Plato. And it says, those who are able to see beyond the shadows and lies of their culture will never be understood, let alone believed by the masses. Now, when you sit and think about that, it's so true. You know, they call these people conspiracy theorists, right? But they see certain lies that are undeniable once you take a look at them. But when they try to tell other people about them, they're never believed, they're never even heard out most of the time. And this is supposedly Plato who wrote this, well over 1,000 years ago. So people don't, the stories don't really change that much, it seems. Yeah, they had conspiracy theorists back then, and they knew it didn't matter, because the masses will never believe them. But there are a couple conspiracy theories that are getting more and more traction as we go along. So let's start off by saying hello to the panel. We'll start off with Miss Karen B. Karen, how has your week been going, ma'am? Get rid of any more puppies yet?
No, I still only rehomed all the boys, and I still have all the females. So I still have 2 female puppies.
Oh, someone will come get them.
Yeah. I'm working with them though. I'm not just letting them be wild puppies. They're being socialized. I'm spending a lot of time with them. Ted spends time with them. So it'll be good. They'll be ready for a home if they ever find one.
Yeah. Kyle Adams, how are you doing, sir?
Doing really well. This week I feel very heard and So you can't feel much better than that. And so I'm really happy about that. This week I've been out with my community. There's like 50 different flat earthers in our area, and we've been putting up signs throughout town on
cool.
like all the street all the street lights, just little posters saying that the earth is flat. And one night while I was putting up a sign, a police officer pulls over and just comes and talks to me and is like, what you're doing, he kind of pulls up a city ordinance and tells me a little bit about it. And he's like, I'm not really gonna like enforce this on you or anything because the earth is flat. It's right there. He like the police officer told me he's a flat earther too. I was like, yeah.
That is awesome.
So
That's
that made me
hilarious.
really happy. That one made my night. And but yeah, it's totally fine with us over here because like to put like a little temporary sign up, it doesn't like violate any city ordinances or anything like that. You don't need a permit. And he was trying to tell me you might need a permit. And so I looked up the city ordinance, and yeah, we got it all resolved, and it's pretty cool. So it's just been, yeah, really fun
Awesome.
going all over town, and like every street sign, yeah, throughout town has got every street light, it's got like a couple different the earth is flat signs. It's awesome.
You got to make a video of that. That'd be so cool. Of just shots
Going
from
through
all
town.
around. Yeah. Just
Yeah.
even still frames. They don't even need to be video. It's just like boom, boom. They're from all different angles. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good idea. That's a really good idea. I'll do that.
Well, very cool, man. That sounds like that was a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
And last but certainly not least, Miss Cammie Nodell. Cammie, how was your week, ma'am? Oh, there.
Sorry, there we are. My microphone was stuck on right. Maybe it's a good sign or something. My week was good. I learned a new word today or a new term. We were talking about it earlier. Ipsit dixit, which is a Latin term, and it's kind of like in court you can't do it because it's like it's a because I said so. No evidence or anything. It's just entirely, Your Honor. It's because I said so, or Your Honor.
It
They
doesn't
did
work.
it. I don't have any evidence or anything, but I said they did it. So if it takes it, and I think we see a lot of that in videos. And it's because I said so, not because of any reason. But I was having fun, like just like putting that one in there, thinking I wish I knew that term years ago. That's it's cute. I love little terms like that. And in Latin, it literally, I'd have to look it up, but it's like Latin from the man says. The man literally says that that's the whole, and you can't. It's not evidence in court. Let's say it doesn't hold up in any type of trial
Holds
or
no
that
water.
holds no water whatsoever. Your Honor, I said that you need to do this. I said so. But I love it. Love it
Yeah,
entirely. The other
too
thing
many
that got
trolls out there who come and say you're wrong, and it's like, okay, well, what do you have to prove it? Like just saying that alone only tells me you're not convinced. It doesn't do anything to convince me.
that came
Yeah.
up pre-show because at the back we were talking about the comments left on the show and Zach saying, "Did I not explain this right?" And like they're coming back and saying this, and it's like, with what reason? With the because I said it doesn't work. Because Zach, Your Honor, it doesn't. You're demonstrating it, and you're actually showing it and saying like exactly how it works and going in and out, but it doesn't work because I said so. So forget everything. Forget about it. Forget what you're seeing. Forget what you're showing. Just forget about it.
Forget about it.
But it doesn't work. So yeah, that was fun. The other thing I was thinking about was, and we should just move on to the show, but you brought it up, was and it made me think I'll have to ask you, Karen, with your daughter. Was it Cassandra in Greek mythology that was punished by Zeus by that she was given that she would always see the truth and see exactly what the facts and what the truth was, and nobody would believe her. That
Maybe I'd have to ask my daughter, and she's not here.
it's it's either Cassandra, maybe Cassiopeia. I think it was Cassandra, but it's like one of the ladies. And what did us need to always like look at the situations, know who's lying, know who's not lying, know what the truth is, and have it that nobody believes you.
Mm-hmm. I'll have to ask her about that. Because she probably would know. Like I named one of the puppies when she wasn't here. I looked up Greek goddess names and I picked Maya because it was like, the mother of Hermes, goddess of the fields, and I was like, I named her Maya. And she goes, "Oh, that's blah 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 blah, mother of Hermes, blah blah blah." And I was like, "Oh, okay." Like I don't even have to tell you. She knows all of it. It's
She knows
crazy.
all of it. I know
She
she
just
would. She would.
loves that subject, so she has read a ton about it. And she makes fan fiction. It's pretty cool.
All
Anyway, sorry.
right. No
All
worries.
right.
We will get on to the show about shadows. Now, we're going to start off with a video that Kyle did. And I know this one is older because I
Yeah,
remember, yeah, it's way older. I don't remember when. It's been, we've been at
yeah.
this a while. But I know it was pretty old. This was before the 2017 one, wasn't it? Or maybe right after?
I'm not sure. It's pretty far back there.
I think it was right after, but it's the one I think it is.
Yeah, this is a great one though. And I had trouble. I was looking for the other one where the guy had the basketball and another ball, and then they had the paper plate,
Mm-hmm.
and he was showing how the shadows were different on the basketball when you use a sphere. It's not a straight line at
I
all.
did a second one to this one. Yeah, which was shadow origami.
I'll see if I can't find that one.
Yeah, I
Maybe
can.
we'll watch
I
that
can
one.
find it pretty quick.
Okay. All right. So we're going to start off with this one. I'm going to make this full screen. Here we go. And here we go.
Globe Earthers
Let me know, anybody, if you want me to stop it, if you have any questions or any comments.
love to point out lunar eclipses and act as if they were solid proof that the Earth is a globe. The problem is, they don't prove it's a globe. Let me show you. Here I have a ball, and I'm going to cast the shadow of this ball onto another ball. All right? Look carefully at the shape of that shadow. Now here's the shadow of a ball being cast onto a plate. And please take notice of how the shadow is different here. Here's the shadow on a ball. Shadow on the plate. Now here is a picture of a lunar eclipse. I don't know about you, but I think this presents a problem for the globe Earth model.
What's happening in that case is that the sun is on one side of the Earth is in the middle, and it's casting a shadow. The Earth is casting a shadow on the moon. And as the shadow moves across the moon, you'll notice that the shadow is curved, it's round. So something like the sun that's bigger than the Earth and is able to cast a shadow of the Earth on the moon can actually show you the shape of the Earth.
Yeah, that's definitely a problem for the globe Earth model.
Would every now and then cast a shadow on the moon. And when it did, that shadow was always round. Now, the only shape we know of that always casts a round shadow is a ball.
Wow, really, Bill? You had to project a flat image of the moon onto the wall in order to get your round shadow? And let's not get started on the size of your shadow there. But what was that you just said?
I'll give him credit, man. Bill Nye had me when I was young.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, I used to watch him all the time.
He did. That was right around when I was, going through middle school and all that kind of stuff. And I always loved Bill Nye the Science Guy. Yeah. Man. Should have just stuck with Mr. Rogers.
Now, the only shape we know of that always casts a round shadow is a ball.
The only shape that can cast a shadow that's curved from any direction you put the light is a sphere.
Oh no, not you too. Not today, doctors. Not today.
Oh, man, I wish I enhanced that one a bit better so you could see the shadows.
How that shadow appeared flat the entire time it moved across the surface of the ball. Now this leaves the question, why do we see so many curved shadows across the face of the moon? Does this mean the moon is actually flat? I suppose that is one explanation for this. But I don't think it's the shadow of the Earth being cast on the moon here. I think something else is going on. The shadow of the Earth is not the only thing that could cause the moon to turn dark. What if this has to do with some kind of a filter that comes between the Earth and the moon? A little while back, I had the opportunity to interview Cami Nodell, and she taught me some really fascinating facts about the atmosphere that I was totally unaware of before. She taught me about how the atmosphere acts as a filter and polarizes the light that passes through it.
Things that people don't understand about that happen in reality, things that we should be looking
The
at.
atmosphere, yeah.
The atmosphere polarizes, any electric field polarizes light, any light that's polarized is directionalized, polarized filters crossing, have different effects.
And you know how I'm always on the hunt for common ground. Here I found some common ground with Colorado State University, wherein they acknowledge the fact that the light from the sun gets polarized as it passes through the atmosphere. And they further claim that bees actually depend on this polarization for navigation. That is pretty wild and mind-blowing if you ask me.
Still want to make one of these. I got all the equipment to do it.
Cammy and Zach have one.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, we built one. I think a lot of it fell apart, but I can just put it back together. The way I did it was with Lincoln Logs and
Tinker Toys.
or Tinker
Yeah,
Toys.
Tinker Toys, and it spun around. It was pretty cool, actually.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
got the little
windmill, like a
handle
little
on
thing.
it. Oh, it looks like a windmill, so you can turn it even. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. I just wish it wasn't so overcast last time there wasn't a lunar eclipse.
Cool, right? Animals are awesome. As I understand it, magnetic fields are generally pretty round. And keep in mind, the moon has its own magnetic field, and magnetic fields can also polarize light. So what would happen if we were to look at this through round filters instead of rectangular ones? Ooh yeah, bada boom, bada bing. And you want to know what the most beautiful thing about this hypothesis is? It is easily testable. Just bring out a third filter and see if you can't bring the moon back into view during the next lunar eclipse. All it takes is a piece of tape. This phenomenon is one of the most mind-blowing things about polarized filters. But please know that this is not the only hypothesis of what else could be going on here. Please keep in mind, refraction can also cause shadows to appear. While I do not currently know the exact cause of lunar eclipses, I know I can say with confidence that they are not caused by the shadow of the Earth. And I'm not just saying that because the shadow of a ball being cast onto another ball is a straight line. One very important vocabulary word that everyone interested in lunar eclipses should learn is the word selenelian. This is kind of an essential term for flat earthers to know. A selenelian is a lunar eclipse that takes place while the sun is visible. And this particular multiple exposure image was featured in the NBC News back in 2014. Though if you want to look up that particular lunar eclipse, the photo was actually taken in December of 2011. Anyway, according to the description here, this photo shows the setting moon just as the sun was about to rise. So the moon is going down in the west, and the sun is coming up behind the observer in the east. And please notice how the moon is being lit up from the bottom up. Now let's try and visualize how the mechanics of this would work in Dr. Thaler's globe Earth model. If we were to put the eclipsing moon in here, where should we put it? Should we put it here? That doesn't seem right. The moon here is setting and should be moving into the shadow, in which case the light here appears to be on the wrong side. How about somewhere down here in the bottom half of the shadow? That looks a little better. The number one explanation I have heard globe earthers provide when trying to explain selenelians is that refraction is causing both the sun and the moon to be visible. That is some pretty extreme refraction if you ask me. High above the mountains even. And look, that moon is not showing any signs of distortion. I'm glad that we can agree that refraction is possible so high up in the air without any signs of distortion. That is some pretty significant common ground right there. Our flat Earth model actually depends on this kind of refraction taking place this high up. It is essential in explaining how sunsets work on the flat Earth. However, when we put the moon down here on the globe model, in order for the shadow to get bigger here, the moon would have to be moving into the shadow, not away from it. In which case, this would require the moon to be moving the wrong way. And this is a moon set, not a moon rise. But something else to keep in mind is that the sun moves faster than the moon does, in which case, as the sun goes up, the shadow should go down. That seems better. But just remember, if that is the story they want to go with, they can't accept that without also accepting the mechanics behind our explanations of how refraction can cause boats to sink on the horizon, as well as our explanations for how sunsets work on the flat Earth. The number one argument I continually hear against that is, if the sun was setting due to refraction, it would cause it to look distorted. I'm glad that we can finally agree that an object can be refracted without obvious distortion. That for certain makes this really valuable common ground. A special thank you to White Sand for composing the music to this video. A special thank you to Cami Nodell. You are awesome. And a special thank you to my wife for your assistance in helping make this video possible. You are amazing. This video has been brought to you by the Flat Earth Institute of Science. If you haven't seen our fish tank laser experiments, they really get in there in explaining and demonstrating how refraction can cause boats, the sun, and the moon to appear to sink on the horizon. They are foundational and are worth checking out. Glory be to the Father of heaven and earth, forever and ever. Thank you all for watching.
Very well done, Kyle.
Thank you.
Yeah. It made me think of some other videos. Yeah, that was awesome, though. I hadn't seen that one in a long time either. It's been a while.
Yeah, me too.
Seeing that again.
Yeah, I like comparing the angles of watching the sun and the moon, and it's like, how is this supposed to be working out? And yeah, because those are moments of just pulling out the magnifying glass and taking a closer look at things that most people just utterly ignore.
It made me remember this one, how vortices in a pool actually create a shadow on the bottom of the pool.
Yeah, that's
and it'll go across the whole pool. Now, I can't show much of this video. I'm just going to show about 5 seconds or so.
That's fine.
every time we show her channel, we get struck. I don't know. I don't believe she's with us anymore, but I
No,
don't know
she
who
is.
is
She
she?
is.
She
She's just
is.
not doing well. Yeah.
Okay.
She's long COVID girl now.
Okay. Yeah. So we're just going to show a couple seconds of this one. It's really neat though. I've done it. Not in a very big pool, but yeah, it absolutely makes these shadows going along the bottom of the pool there, and they move real. That is so cool how slow they're moving like that.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Okay.
A woman does with this too, the same demonstration in displaying magnetics. A real nice job with it.
Yeah, it definitely makes me think about just a solar eclipse and how much of the magnetic field lines you can actually watch all the way around it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so we
Yeah,
know
when the
there's
moon is
something up
right
there.
there, when you have totality, you can see it absolutely.
Yeah. Not many people. I haven't seen. I don't know if they've done it themselves. Like not on camera, but I haven't seen a whole lot of people recreate that one where you take a sphere and put it in front of another sphere, and then you put it in front of a flat plate. And that's what we see up in the sky is when it goes across a flat plate.
Yeah, I have videos where I was putting where I've done shadow tests and stuff. I never made like a video that I put out, but I have videos on my hard drive where I've
Yeah, I have
set
those
things
too.
up, you know, where I'm
Hmm.
like I have a ball and then I'm shining a light out and then I have another ball and the shadow that comes that you see when the one ball goes across another, it's not like round, and I didn't get the straight line that Kyle got. I got this weird S curve. Like it gets
Yeah, the
all
Pepsi symbol.
distorted when it goes around it's like a round shadow going around a round ball. It's like even more distorted. So you get this weird, and I was like, well, that doesn't look like an eclipse either. So
Yeah.
either way, it doesn't really, you can't really recreate it. You have to get everything lined up. You can kind of do it if you mess around a little bit, but
Yeah, for it to look like that every time.
But
yeah,
if you look at
well, but also you don't get the red. And they go, oh, it's
Hmm.
because the light's refracting through Earth's atmosphere. Uh-huh, right.
Hmm.
But you got to think about that. If the light's refracting through Earth's atmosphere, shouldn't you're just think about the atmosphere as a filter, right? You got the sunlight coming through the atmosphere and causing the moon to look red. That's the official claim, right? But every time the moon is over there on the horizon, that light should be passing through the same filter. That therefore, every time the moon is on the horizon, it
Yeah.
should appear red, according
Hmm.
to that whole theory, right? But it doesn't. Yeah, we sometimes see the moon turn red without it being a lunar eclipse, but it doesn't have to be just on the horizon, right? And so there's so many holes in that story that just like it doesn't hold water.
Wow, it is a yin yang shaped curve.
Yeah, it is kind of like that, actually.
I
It
never
does
thought
kind
of
of
it
look
like I
like
always
that.
thought of the Pepsi symbol. That's what I saw when I saw it. But yeah, yin yang,
Yeah, kind of
the
like,
curve
yeah,
in there.
exactly.
Good eye, Jana. All right. So this next one came from about 7 years ago, I think, from the 2017 eclipse. And Chris Van Matre, there was a big thing because the shadow was only 70 miles wide on the moon. So everybody was saying, the moon's at least 70 miles wide, and you can't make the shadow any smaller. So it has to be at least 70 miles wide. The moon has to be. And I was like, well, I know you can make a shadow bigger, but can you make a shadow smaller?
You can make it smaller.
Yeah, you absolutely can. And Chris, you can make a shadow not even appear. Like once
Mm-hmm.
it's really interesting. I'll show you that here. I forgot about it when I was watching this video today. I was like, oh wow, because I had watched a video Kyle showed me about the lights they use for surgical lights. They use Fresnel lenses, and it's really interesting. They can have their hand, right above a patient right here, or be leaning over a patient, but the light is like shining, like it's right in front of their face, shining down. Like them being in front of their light source doesn't block out the light. It's still the patient's lit up perfectly where they want to see it. And yeah, I had no idea. I was just playing around, you know. I had no idea that that's how those. I had no idea that they worked like that. I thought they'd have to have a bunch of multiple light sources, which they do on their one light, which I get. But I thought they'd have to have them from a bunch of different angles to be doing the surgeries, and it's not the case. It's really neat. So I'm just going to let this one play. Sorry, it's in probably 480 or 720. I'm not even sure. Yeah. I think my first 300 videos were done on a cell phone. And the first 100 probably wasn't a very good cell phone. Yeah. There we go.
Hello, everybody out there in YouTube land. This is
Oh, and I got this idea from Chris Van Matre. He's the one who originally did it, and then I was just kind of following him up. I know I'm going to use the word experiment in here, so don't everybody freak out. This was 7 years ago, okay? So here we go.
Good Times for All, or Zachary Zabala if you prefer. This will be a recreation of a Chris Van Matre experiment where he made the shadow of an object smaller than the object itself. Now, I've been hearing a lot of people say this was impossible, and I went right along with it without even any experimentation. And now with just a light source and an object, you cannot make the shadow smaller. This is true. But with a couple, well, really with just one Fresnel lens, you can make the shadow appear much smaller than the object. And it even has a umbra penumbra that it creates. It's really neat. I'm going to show it to you right now. As you can see, it is making a shadow right there. Well, I'll show you the setup that I have first. Just two buckets right here with some books set upon that. I have a tripod system with a flashlight that has a magnet on the bottom of it, holding up the flashlight, and it's just shining down. Now, why I put the books here and the buckets is I have two Fresnel lenses, and I'm going to lay them across here and show you how the actual shadow is going to get a little bit smaller. Actually, quite a bit smaller. Give me 1 second.
Lots of buckets in my lab. Working at a bucket factory. They were free, so yeah, I used them for all kinds of stuff.
Okay, so we have our Fresnel lens set up here. Let me get that glare out of there. Move that over. There we go. And as you can see the shadow there, as I bring this up, you'll notice the shadow is getting smaller. It gets bigger. It gets smaller. Now that is a much smaller shadow than the actual object. Now that's with just one lens. Now if I were to put another lens up here, like this, dog hair all over everything, sorry. Now this is really neat, folks, because you have the shadow. You can barely even see the shadow when the object is down there.
It's gonna be like right next to the surface.
The shadow just disappears.
That is so awesome.
There's no shadow anymore. I can't get a shadow with two lenses. So this is a new one on me, folks. So if we have 4 or 5 lenses up there, how are we seeing any shadows at all? I mean, this thing has to be real close to even start to make a shadow. Because once
I love that. That's awesome.
the shadow's just gone.
I forgot about this.
It doesn't matter where I put it. I can put it up here on top even.
It's cool.
And you kind of see a teeny tiny shadow in the center. and it dims out, but you can see light the whole time, even when I put it in the middle here.
That's
So we'll
just
go
wild.
back. That was with 2. We'll go back to 1 Fresnel lens, and you can see a shadow. No problem. The shadow is as big as the object there, but as it goes up, the shadow does get smaller. Okay. And then we go back to just a light source and an object. And of course, the shadow is at its smallest when it's closest, and then we'll get bigger. Now, I did notice one thing. When you turn the Fresnel lens over the other way, it will make things get... No, that actually makes it get smaller as well.
Wonder what that purple is around
And
there.
it does kind of an umbra
Good
penumbra.
question.
I'm getting purple. That could be the blue of the pen.
I doubt it, though. I was thinking about that today after I watched this.
But the shadow definitely does get smaller, folks. So there you have it with experimentation. Like I said, this wasn't mine. This was from Chris Van Matre. I was just recreating his experiment. That's what science is, verifying it. And so I'm going to give Chris a call here and let him know how it went. But I just wanted to share that with y'all.
Okay. So yeah, and I'm not saying that the sky is like anything we saw in this video here, really. I don't know. But these are different puzzle pieces,
Yeah.
Well,
that you
just
just want
it's
to be
just
aware
showing
of.
you what's possible with light.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
obviously we saw
Just
shadows in
showing
the
you,
ground.
and there's different ways to do a lot of different things. So
Yeah. There's a lot to shadows that we're still figuring out. And so it's important to know exactly what you can do to get a shadow and also get rid of a shadow. The way it's important to understand that shadows can be manipulated.
hmm
what's going on here? Oh, okay, there we go. Oh,
I sent you a picture in the link that you had to see in the Skype chat. With
I also found my videos of a ball shadow on a ball. If you want me to share it.
yeah.
I have to laugh at this one from NASA. The picture I sent you of the globe with the shadow on it.
Oh, I thought you meant this one.
Sorry,
Here you go. This one?
we can't see it yet.
Oh. Duh.
Yeah. So right here we're getting the shadow of the moon on the Earth, and you can see how that's not a perfect circle. It's warped, and so this is NASA acknowledging that the shadow of a ball onto another ball gets warped. It works here, but not in the lunar eclipse. What's up with that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, never like that with the lunar eclipse. It's always like the Earth is so much bigger than the moon in that shadow going across it, which I get in the model. The Earth is bigger than the moon, but the moon goes down to like this little teeny tiny compared to it's what 2,000 miles across the moon, something like that.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
think it's like about a
almost.
quarter of the Earth
Yeah.
size. Yeah, and it
hmm
goes down to a 70-mile shadow. But yet the
hmm
Earth shadow is always ginormous compared to the moon. You never see the whole Earth in the moon. It's always way bigger.
hmm
Yeah, that doesn't make sense to me. Good night, Liz. She's been saying good night for about 10 minutes.
Good night, Liz.
All right. And then I love this picture too. This was,
Neil Tyson.
yeah, his first shot at a meme.
Yeah. I always laugh at this one because the angles at which this would have to take place. It's like, okay, in order for this to happen, you have to have the sun over here, the moon over here, and yet
It doesn't make any
it,
sense.
it only has to be on the horizon. It's like, did he put any thought into the mechanics behind this when he made this? Because the only way this could happen on a flat Earth is, first, the flat Earth would have to be a frisbee in outer space. Second, the only eclipses would have to be like on the horizon, and like the sun and moon would have to be like way down low on the horizon, where they're definitely not on our model. So like the amount of straw manning in order to make this little meme is just insane.
I would have appreciated the meme more if it would have had little turtle legs and a tail, or
I've
you
seen
know what I
one of
mean. At
those
least
too.
then, because
Yeah, that
sometimes then,
would
something, if it gets humorous, but this is lazy, this is
Yeah.
pathetic. But
Yeah, and he just barely like reposted that just this week, I think it was. Yeah, with this last lunar eclipse, and
come
kind
on,
of
Neo, you can do
there he
better.
goes again.
you can, improve the game.
But he's thinking about us. That's the important thing to remember. He's thinking about us.
Okay, let me find. Did you drop it in GlobeBusters Tech, Karen?
No, it's just on my hard drive.
Oh, okay. You want me to,
Can
or
I
did
just
you want to share it?
present it? Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
I can just share it on my second screen. Because you don't need sound. It doesn't need sound or anything like that. We can just talk about it.
Okay.
So it's basically just a styrofoam ball on my infamous curvy kitchen table. And so I just took a few different things. I took a ball and I put it across. Let me see. There we go. Oh, here's me using a flat disk. And you can see like the shadows totally. It is kind of like Pepsi-ish, yin
Oh yeah,
yang-ish.
definitely, especially right back there when it hits that middle part, it really gets that wave in it.
Makes you think of the GoPro camera.
And then I also did that. I I did it flat across, right? And you can see it sort of splays out as it gets toward the top and the bottom because the curve of because the actual natural shape of the ball is distorted like all the way
I like seeing
across.
the disfigurement of that right there.
Yeah, that's awesome. That wave that comes across like that.
So here's an actual ball.
Looks like a little pregnant belly.
Yeah. It's like not anywhere near that perfect circle that we see, right? It's like
Look at that. Yeah, it's like looping up, which is what happens when you put a shadow over a sphere like that.
Yeah, it's not perfectly round. It always gets distorted as you get towards the edges of the ball, especially because it's curving away, right?
And I
Anyway,
bet it would be even more distorted if you weren't standing with the light source. If you were standing to the side of the light source more, I bet the shadow might even get weirder.
probably.
I don't know. I've never tried it. That's something. I'm gonna have to
I
play
mean,
some
I
shadows.
have tons of styrofoam balls, many stupid videos of shadows that I did.
Well, just looking at the ball itself, when it was lit up, you could see how it's like really bright right in the center, and then it kind of dims out along the edges. I'm like, when do we ever see that with the moon?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It'll be sharper on the edge, on the part of the ball that's closest to you, and then as it curves away, the shadow spreads out.
Yeah. So that's been like a huge thing for years that people have pointed out, is like, why does the moon look so much different shadow wise, just without any shadow being cast on it at all? Just it's there, but it looks so flat in the sky for some strange reason. If it wasn't for the craters on the moon, Yeah, it looks super flat because you don't see the dimming around the edges like you did in your ball picture there.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I perceive it as dropping down, and I mean, sometimes you feel like you can reach up and pull it down, and I tend to like feel like a spherical thing to it. I thought it was interesting. I love one of the videos Karen made that was really good, on the moon, and that is a sphere,
Yeah, that was classic.
and that was classic. I loved it and hated it at the same time. I,
You gotta pull that one up, Zach.
I loved it because it's all of the possibilities, and she presented it correctly as all the possibilities. And then what people did is they took it out and ran with the moon is not a sphere, and it's like, no, that's not what she said. She's like, don't
Mm-mm.
block things out, but the sphere, is still Occam's razor. It still meets a lot of
It looks spherical to me too.
looks spherical to
I
me too.
agree.
So right. Am I saying it's a sphere? No, and especially am I saying is it, people that are talking about the shape where it's, again, sphere at the bottom and the top of it like an apple. It's like, sure. Don't know. They don't show us that side, but or I don't when I say they don't show us that side, I mean I'm more than just a little suspect of the video we get on the dark side of the moon. I've looked at it and it's pretty darn silly.
All
Hmm.
right. And this next video is one that Karen did that I thought was just amazing. It's going to kind of go into, is the moon spherical? Can we say is it spherical? It was great that you guys ended on that just there. That was perfect. Because this video is going to go into just by looking at something, can we tell what shape it actually is? If we can't go there and really touch it and put hands on it, just by looking at something, can you tell what it is? And I've came to the conclusion a long time ago, no, you can't.
No, you can't.
And this was a big helping piece for me. This was like opening my eyes right here, like, whoa, okay, wait a minute. Like you'll see what I mean. Here we go.
How do we know that the moon is a sphere? Have
Shout
you
out to
ever
Dr.
seen
Zach.
the other side of it? No. I will let my friend
Dr.
Karen
Zach
B
rocks.
show you a little demonstration.
When something is round and too far away from you, you cannot say what shape it is. It can be a flat plate, it can be oblate, it can be concave, it can be a sphere. You just can't tell. Here are 4 objects. They all look round, right? But are they all spheres? How would we know? What if I told you that there is only one object that is not spherical? Can you tell what it is? Can you tell me how you knew it? How would we even know the distance? I can tell you that they are 100 feet away and you will believe it, but they can only be a few inches away.
And I can tell you that they are 10 meters in diameter, but they could only be 5 centimeters in diameter. You can never know using your camera.
Please look at them carefully. Here is the only object that is not spherical here. Here it is. I bet you thought it would be another one. But it will blow your mind if I tell you that this second object is also not spherical, and it's flat. And it will blow your mind even more if I tell you that this third object is concave.
That's the only one I always remember for sure now, just because the color is different.
Mm-hmm.
That's
But
the
how about
only
this
one that
one?
I know.
This is the only spherical object. We could have an oblate object and you would think it's spherical as well. So looking at something round does not mean it's a sphere. Have you ever seen the moon rotating in the sky? You have always seen one side of it, which makes it impossible for anyone to say the moon is spherical. However, using the word round is correct. A plate is also round. Look at this moon right here. Does it look round? Yes. Does it look like a sphere? Yes. Is it really a sphere? Let's find out. Well, it's not. It's flat. You got tricked again.
Yes, I did. So yeah, just by looking at something, you can't really know. You can have educated guesses and this and that and all kinds of stuff, but to truly know, I don't think you can just by looking at something, unless I'm missing something.
They've got these weird like 3D sculptures that you can only see the image in one direction, but if you walk over to the other side, the entire thing gets warped and it's like a whole bunch of pieces just floating in a
Yeah,
box kind of
yeah.
thing.
I
I've seen
love
that a bunch
stuff
of
like
times.
that.
My entire past like career life of over 30 years of it was based on having to test properties and like going in detail over things that look like, again, you have a clear stone. Is it a diamond? Is it a quartz? Is it a topaz? It is calcite. Is again, you in each color you have hundreds of possibilities, and what are you looking at? What, so you have to start looking at what angle does it refract light at, and again, you have to go really, really close and deep on a lot of these things to tell them apart. It's takes a lot of testing, so it's all I almost scrutinize on. You can't just look at something and know what it is because and then again, if you go into my field of what it was in gemology and testing it. Once you even knew what it was, then you had to figure out, oh crap, okay, now that I know what it is, did this grow in the ground? Does it have the tendencies of something in the ground, or is it mass produced in a laboratory? Because it affects the value immensely, and you'll have again the same group of properties. So again, you cannot, when you say, well, can you just look at something and know? No, you can't. In so many things. I mean, in so many things.
Mm-hmm. And this one,
Hmm.
I don't even know when I did this one. 7 years ago as well. So right around the same time. A lot of playing around with light and lenses and shadows and all that kind of stuff. And this one is a way you can create a spherical looking object. But what I'm using is a laser light that projects a square. It doesn't even project a circle. But you'll see when I put it through this little hemispherical lens down here, it's going to make it look spherical. And as I rotate it, I can get it to rotate in any direction on any axis I want to. It's just by simply where I point the laser into the lens. So you can take any shape object and make it look spherical. So until we know what's
Okay.
above our head, then
Good.
I don't even know if the sun, the original source of the sun, is spherical. After seeing this stuff, I can't say for sure that it is.
You don't know what kind of lens it's going through, the light.
Exactly. Yeah. There's so many different possibilities, but just knowing all the different pieces, or at least as many as you can gather, can kind of help you, at least try to put a
Do
model together of how
yeah.
things are working.
Especially when you take into consideration that the pieces that we're dealing with that we find, that it's an electric universe, that it's a magnetic universe. Again, all the pieces that we're looking at have a optic component to them. I mean, they have an optic property. They don't know how to operate without that optic property. They don't know how to turn it on and off. It's going to be there. And so if we're talking about like firmaments or electric fields or electromagnetics, anything we're looking at, they'll have optical components to them.
Mm-hmm.
You can look it up, each and every one of them. And so again, to isolate them, it's interesting, but again, it's compounded. But again, it's there. It's not a fact. Is it there, or where we find it? We know it's there, and it's like, where are we not applying it? Is more the question. So go ahead, Zach.
All right, here we go.
Hello, everybody out there in YouTube land. This is Good Times for All. Zachary Zabala here, if you prefer. In this video, I've been playing around with my new hemispherical lens. This is my little bit older one. I got it a month ago or so, month and a half, month ago. And it helped out a lot to learn some things, but I needed a bigger viewing area. So I went out and I got this guy right here. much bigger, 100 millimeter compared to the
Yeah.
60 millimeter. And it I wish I could show you. I was trying to record some of the stuff I can do with it, how it can project just about any type of light source, any nice bright light source. You can actually focus it in and get a picture of what that light source looks like. My camera phone won't pick it up, so I'm not even going to move it to show you. But
I did this at work, and I think I even did a video on it showing what a light bulb inside of a projector system looks like. It's super bright white light, and you put your little thing down and then you draw on the clear plastic sheet,
Mm-hmm.
and then it'll go up onto the wall or your projection. Yeah, well, those bulbs are real bright. And at work, we used this and then took a picture of it, and it showed up on the wall like the actual light bulb, like the coil. You could see the coil of the light bulb. It like gets rid of all the extra light. It's weird. It's really weird how it works.
A coiled light
I'm
bulb,
going to
kind of
figure
like
out where to be
a
able to
fluorescent light.
Yeah,
Sometimes you'll see
yeah,
it.
the actual coil inside of the light, you could actually see it on the wall. It wasn't just a big bright white light anymore, like it
Mhm.
usually is. You could actually see the bulb on the wall.
But I have been playing around with it, and I have discovered that with a focused light source, like a laser that we have here, and it also has a lens on it already, the cap here. I mean, when a laser comes out, it doesn't make all those. It usually makes, just one line, one beam of light. And then this cap here is what makes it do all that kind of stuff. Now it is, here, let me show you. It is already somewhat, I don't want to say hemispherical, but it's the way that the lens is laid out. As you can see, it's already arced on the edges. Like it's perfect to make a sphere. It's like these two objects were perfect together to create what I'm going to show you right here. Now check this out. Now look at that. Is that not cool?
Trippy.
Yeah, isn't that wild?
Yeah. It actually does look like a little mini sun.
That's making your focal points again, Zach. That's very, very, very cool.
And
But
I
yeah, you
learned that
get
you
your
could
spherical,
get it to rotate and put your
and you
axis
can get it to
anywhere.
rotate on any axis, Y, Z, I mean, X. It's really, really neat. But you can get this thing to do. And I had
The
it
hard
set
part
easy
about
here, showing like the vort.
that's cool. That's really cool.
Really neat stuff, folks.
Whoa,
But yeah,
trippy.
Like when it comes to refracting light, people love to pull out the optics computer programs, but it only shows you like the light passing through the object in those programs. It doesn't show you what the product is going to look like. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Yeah.
And that's
It's
been
like
the biggest issue.
two-dimensional. It's a
People will say, "Oh,
two-dimensional
well, try to use this
representation.
to explain a 24-hour sun or something like that." But so long as you're not able to see the final product of what it's going to produce, you have no idea of knowing how, like, if it's going to support your cause or go against it.
I wonder how many dots there are here compared to how many show up here. Do you think there's any that are like disappeared around the edge and are somewhat lost? I don't know.
Hmm.
I'm gonna have to go through and
Count the dots.
play count the dots. I think I still have this laser. I know we have a bunch of these lenses still. You can
Lasers
make
are
it big
cheap.
too. Yeah.
We have a ton of those, and that's like again some of the fun things. And you showed it a little bit without meaning to when you had the two of them side by side, and you had a overhead light, and you saw a distinct reflection of the overhead light in each one of them. Did you see how it isolated what you're seeing into each? It can't help but do that.
Hmm.
That just didn't go into one, it went into both of them. That was like on my desk where we had the reflections and that. So you say, how
Mm-hmm.
could you get multiple of it? Each magnetic field is going to work a lot like the stone will, create that type of optics. And so again, if you have something happening a layer over and it's coming down into them, it's easy to see how that can happen and how things might not cross over on it. But yeah, you were showing it with the little two lights on it.
That is concave.
On the note of, is it
Or no,
spherical?
solid. I'm sorry, Jana. She asked if it's concave or solid. That one was solid, completely solid.
I
Go ahead,
got to
Jana.
show you the stage light that I sent you.
Sean is good too because she knows at the house I have them concave, we have them solid, and we have them that are like mostly solid with a little dip on the bottom of them.
This one?
The stage light.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I'm not sharing. Hold on. There we go.
Okay. I can't emphasize enough of just how significant this little tiny observation is. Okay. You get one light and it ends up causing this spotlight effect on the stage, right? And people look at that and say, oh, look, I see curvature. Therefore, the stage must be a ball, right? But we know that's a flat stage. And so just zoom in on the horizon on that, right? And we know that the sun has the same kind of an effect, right? We look out at the horizon and it's really bright underneath us, but the farther and farther away you get, the dimmer that light can actually appear. And so this is kind of a huge response I have for like those high altitude footage from like the balloon satellites, like Mr. Sensible's MADE project.
Oh, look, yeah, here's the Earth curve right here. It's like, well, no, that's where the light ends.
Yeah. So if you want to claim that that's Earth curvature that you're seeing from a balloon, then you got to find a way to factor out the spotlight effect. And you can take like just a simple light bulb, just a simple light bulb, and hold it next to like your wall or something like that. And even though that light bulb doesn't have a can around it, it's just totally exposed, you can get the same effect, the same spotlight effect from holding a light bulb up to your wall.
Yeah, it's wild.
Or I've done that with a candle also. You can just take a candle next to your wall and get that spotlight effect. And just because you see a circle and you see curvature, that doesn't mean it's the curvature of your wall or floor or the earth.
Well, all right. I think that's going to do it for tonight. Some cool little optical effects that you have with shadows, and then some other ones with we threw a couple in there with lenses and light, just to show you that just because it looks a certain way, not until, or at least not until I put my hands on something and actually feel it or really get a good measurement of it, I'm not going to, especially like the moon. You only see one side of the moon ever. It's not like
Mm-hmm.
somebody standing on the other side of Earth sees like a different side of the moon ever. We all see the same side, always. It's really, I don't know what it is. I can't say what it is. I don't know. I
We
have,
all see the same phase, the same
yeah,
time.
it doesn't really make sense. It just doesn't. And that's okay. Maybe one day I'll learn something and it'll all drop into place and click. Not going to hold my breath though. I'll tell you that much. But yeah, these are all just ideas, phenomena that could apply to what we're seeing. They may apply, but if you never hear about them, you never have that option. You can always say, well, this doesn't fit here, throw it out. It doesn't work because of this. But if you never hear about it, you never know. And then it could open up new options. Other things that you had to throw out, maybe you have to go back and look now, because with this new information, some of this stuff might get pulled back in. You never know. So just always keep that open mind. And we've been at this for years. I forgot something that I did, from 7 years ago. I did it myself. I made a video about it, and I didn't even know it was possible today until I watched it. So refreshing is not bad. It's a good idea to go back and watch old videos that even you yourself may have made. You might teach yourself something you had forgotten.
Hey, that's what I've been doing lately, is going back to old videos.
Yeah.
Then you can find the ones that are still gems, and your skills have gotten better now. So now you can present it even better than you did before. And I've been trying to do that a lot more lately too. It's just, I look at some of my old videos and just kind of the quality is just like, oh, it just makes me cry. So I'm like, I'm gonna go remake that video so I can, not be
I
so
know. I
embarrassed.
need to redo like all my first videos. They're so bad. Like I said, like an $80 cell phone. My first 100 videos were made on. So yeah, it is what it is. I
But
got the information out
progress.
there. Yeah,
Never be ashamed of progress. You're better now than you used to be. So that's
right.
good.
Karen, what you got coming up this week?
Probably nothing until coffee talk Monday. I'm busy doing stuff at my house. I'm still trying to home puppies. So I'm not really picking up any extra streams if I don't have to at this time, unfortunately. But I will do
I don't
coffee
blame
talk.
you.
I know.
I know
I
it's
will,
busy.
yeah. And so Deftones are also coming to town Monday, so or this weekend they're going to be in Charlotte. So
very cool.
got to
Well,
make
you
time
have
for
a
that.
blast. Yeah.
Yeah.
A little heavy for me.
I know. I love it though.
Yeah. I mean, I used to go see bands like Rage, and I've seen Rob Zombie and, some heavy stuff. But I don't think I would like it as much as I did when I was, younger. I'm more of I'd like to go see Jimmy Buffett or something, like a show like that, real laid back. And
My mom goes to see Jimmy Buffett.
I'm a parrot head. I'm not gonna lie. Those were fun shows.
I've been multiple times. I cannot tell a lie. And Stefan, I love him. But I mean, the music is more than a little bit rock and roll for me, or metal. So you have a great time if you need animal care or anything like that to make it fun.
Just let
And
us
give
know.
him my best.
All right, thanks you guys.
Yeah. Kyle, what you got coming up this week, man?
Oh, I've been working for a while now on putting a video together about non-parallel light. And recently I watched a really old video from David Weiss where he pointed out moonlight and about how NASA likes to claim that, well, the light from the sun is parallel because it has to travel 93 million miles away to get to us, right? And so then he pointed out, well, what about moonlight, right? The moonlight has the same kind of shadows. You put up a stick and same kind of shadows, but the moon's, they don't claim that the moon is 93 million miles away. So what's up with that? It's like, oh my goodness, that's such a solid point. I love it. And so I'm gonna put that together with some of my videos and kind of make a compilation there. And yeah, there's so many great points that just need to be said.
Well, that sounds awesome, man. I can't wait to see it. And Cammie, what do you got coming up this week?
Well, we've got also catching up on some of the old videos, and we are taking on some new and some different recommendations. Karen B, we watched
We'll do that after the
Holy,
show.
yeah,
Yeah.
we watched Holy Mountain last night. Oh my goodness.
I still haven't got a chance to watch it.
Oh, so you haven't
Everybody's
seen it, so
watched
you
it but
don't.
me now.
There's no new concept. There's no new thoughts in it, but it was done very, very John Lennon-esque, very John Lennon-esque. He was who funded the movie. You're gonna say what the fuck?
Okay, I'm
Well,
looking
okay, I
forward to
said
it
what.
though.
That's what I said was what the fuck. But okay.
Like Clockwork Orange has nothing on it. Nothing
Oh,
at
Nothing
all.
on what?
A
Holy
Clockwork
Mountain.
Orange, this movie
Uh-huh.
called Holy Mountain, like the real weird movie, A Clockwork Orange, that's real hard to follow and is just crazy and weird pictures and images and all. It doesn't even hold a candle to this movie.
Huh.
Like the symbolism and like, yeah, it's intense. Like they barely speak and it's 2 hours long. It was wild. It was very wild.
It
And
was wild.
there's, I can't believe they got away with putting this thing out. Like some of the stuff they
So,
show
Zach's
is
like, Cammy, could they show this in the 70s? Did they show this in theaters? And I was like, no, Zach, no, no, no. This this would have been X-rated on violence. This would have been X-rated on porn. This would have been X-rated. No. I guess it did get a couple of special showings on film festivals and in theaters, a select theater in San Francisco and New York. I read back the history because now I was like, can we, we get in trouble for watching this because like there's naked kids and or it's just like, what the? Like, it's done in political and different. They're making statements. It has all the symbolism and everything,
Yeah,
but
Tony Coriolis watched it. He called and told me he enjoyed it as well.
oh, I didn't enjoy it, and I didn't learn anything new from it, but
What?
it did.
I don't think he said enjoy, but he said he watched it and that he liked it and that it was sort of like a avant-garde sort
Well,
of type of
it's wild.
movie.
Yeah.
it was in its time. It probably really, really was in its time, but we've seen everything they've covered as far as the topic. This is again in the early 70s, so everything has gone like way past that or different, or it's nothing new and avant-garde anymore. So but the way they presented it was very, very dramatic by using cutting from scene to scene, with drama and art, artsy drama, the psychedelic induced artsy drama. You
Yeah,
know,
it's a wild world.
yeah, like the wall and like nothing like it. None of those had anything on it. So yeah, trying to think of what would have any. I hadn't seen anything like it. I don't ever
Okay.
really need to again, but okay. All right, Tony.
And I have GLOBEBUSTERS on Sunday, and then tomorrow morning, 5 a.m., Iron Rail Media. That's 5 a.m. Eastern Time, 2 a.m. Pacific. We have a lot of fun over there. Hopefully, we'll have Walter back. Walter's been feeling a bit under the weather. If you guys have any extra love and good vibes to send, please send them down to Southern Louisiana. He could use them.
Shout out
Okay.
to Walt.
Yeah, he's a great guy. Just a great guy. And
All of my
yeah, we want him to get better.
yeah. And Tony, hold on, we have to do on here. Tony Coriolis, back of the DVD says each character represents the planets. Really? You'd think because they come up there and say, "Hi, I'm Jupiter."
Okay, I really need to watch this
You
movie.
need to, yeah.
Oh.
And you got to get pet. You just sit down and watch it.
You don't
No
have to
matter
get
how many
past it.
times you think, should I just turn this off now? Just watch. Because eventually they do
Oh my
start
God.
talking. They will start talking a little bit, and you will start actually, there's an actual story that's in there, but it takes a while to even get to them to start talking, is what I'm saying. Yeah. It's wild. It is very wild. I'll
And
give
Karen,
it that.
it's good to know you hadn't watched it because I kept on saying, well, let's get past this because Karen like dropped it. I got it from her. I didn't.
No, because
All right.
that's the one that you must have been listening to Coffee Talk when Tony called in and said that he watched it. And then I was like, oh yeah, everything Artez sends me is actually interesting stuff. And I got that from Artez.
Okay.
So
It's definitely interesting. A lot of hidden occult stuff. They do the 2 pillars and all kinds of stuff.
They show all the symbols.
Interesting.
They do all the
Yeah.
stuff in it. Yeah.
Tarot
Oh.
cards, all kinds of wild stuff in there.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Actually,
cool.
yeah, I don't even think Eyes Wide Shut had more symbolism than they did. I mean,
No, the
if
symbolism
there's
is
if there's
overwhelming.
symbolism, they threw it in there.
And then there's stuff that probably we just aren't privy to, I mean, we can only get so deep into the occult. There's stuff that's still occulted completely from the masses, I'm sure.
Well, that's occult is hidden. Yeah. Mhm.
But all right, that's going to do it for the show tonight. Thank you all so much for hanging out. That was a fun one. We'll be back again next week. And remember, be good to each other. Don't lie to each other. Open your mind because there's truth inside. Peace out, everyone.
Peace.
Peace.
Love you all.